Laura, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Alice. That's a pleasure.
So, thank you first of all for wanting to take the time, right, to talk about a topic that I feel in society we don't talk a lot about, even though it happens uh, to everyone, right? Loss and grief. I am, and I don't know if this is correct to say, but I am. Well, I'm very excited. It's kind of weird to say, maybe, but at the same time, I am because I also lost my dad when I was 4 years old.
Oh,
And so it's a topic that I have thought a lot about, but also I at the same time feel I haven't talked with so many people who
mhm.
also lost a parent.
Okay.
So in that sense, I'm weirdly enough kind of excited to just hear about your insights and to potentially also learn myself from it.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, and I'm honored and I'm kind of excited too,
Yeah, you get it right. Yeah.
because this is a topic that we don't talk about enough. And whenever someone wants to talk about losing someone, having lost someone, I'm open to having a conversation because I know how important that is. So, I'm excited.
Yeah. So to kind of start, and so I found you through your YouTube video, right?
Okay.
But I didn't really watch it all the way because I kind of wanted to hear it while I'm talking to you. But I
Uh,
know that you lost your mom.
yes.
Um, how long was that ago? How did you lose her? Like, what can you share about that actually?
Yes, so I lost my mom. Her name was Sylvia. She passed away on March 19, 2019, and that's been it's been 6 years now. So, yeah, that was 6 years ago.
That's early.
I was not even 24.
Yeah.
hmm
And do
I'm
you
gonna
mind?
turn 30 this Friday, actually. I'm like,
Oh.
this is my last public appearance of being 29. So, yeah.
Well, the way that I look at it, because I'm past 30, I'm 32 now. You're at the start of another mark,
hmm
right? Then you're in the beginning of going to 40, so
Yes,
yeah,
right on the precipice. Yes.
yeah. Um, do you mind sharing what happened to her?
I mean, I can share her story, and also thank you so much for even having me on the show because I've been thinking about so many things before we started this conversation today, and I realized that every opportunity that I have that I can talk about my mom is a privilege to me.
Hmm.
It's the only way that people can get to know her now is by me sharing who she was to me, by my brother sharing who she was to him. And thank you so much for giving me the platform to talk about her.
Yeah, for sure.
So she died after a long fight with cancer. She was fighting um, not the lung cancer. It's been so long I haven't even thought about the word.
Throat
Um,
cancer? Or
it was the sorry, this escapes me now in English, but there is this protective layer around the lungs.
yeah.
That is not the lungs, that it's just like a layer of protection. And I'll just maybe Google that for reference, but that is where the cancer was first found when I believe it was in 2012. So 7 years before she passed. So she was fighting for 7 years. And in that time, she had had surgery. She had one lobe of her lungs removed. She had chemo. She went through all types of treatment. But by the end, the cancer had just spread out and metastasized to her brain, her lungs, her lymphatic nodes. So it was just like getting worse and worse. And eventually she passed. That was like that's in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So you um you've seen someone that you love deeply. I mean, your mom suffer for many years.
Yeah. And I just checked the name. So she had pleural
Yeah.
cancer, but not, it's spelled Pleural. So the pleura is this protective layer around the lungs. Yes, yeah, I saw her deteriorate over the years, but mainly it got worse, I would say. Like she became a different person since the diagnosis, but she also fought so strongly, but I saw her just getting worse with time, but it didn't hit me until it was like a few months before the moment that I didn't know would be the death her death day, but it was getting worse like up until 6 months before she passed eventually, because up until that time, for the whole time she was diagnosed, and even like with the exception of when she was in hospital for the surgery and for chemo, she was a physical education teacher and she loved sports. So she was running 10K, 5K, going around Poland to different cities, different runs, different competitions. She was always active, lifting weights.
Wait, while she was fighting cancer?
Yes,
Wow,
yeah. She was just, I'm
that's
not gonna let
incredible.
that win. Yeah, she was always keeping her spirits high. She was always optimistic. So that's why I'm saying that it only really got worse like 6 months before she eventually passed, because she was always not only like strong, that would be an understatement, like she was superhuman about it. And she inspired everyone around her, and also her students, her teachers. I mean, the teachers at the school that she was teaching at, our whole town knew her, the whole community knew her. And it was just, empowering to see her during the fight. And that's why I think the loss and the period when it was really really bad hit so hard. It was because like up until that moment she was just persevering and pushing on better than people who were healthy sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it hit you so hard because you realized like she might lose the fight, or
um the opposite. Like I had never thought that she would die of cancer,
yeah,
just because we had so many conversations, so many like philosophical and health related and mindset related conversations, that I knew that if there was a person who was going to win with cancer, fight cancer, that would be my mom. And she had won a few times.
yeah,
So it hit me so hard because I was just, I guess by the end, I was deep in denial, because I was also,
well, you were keeping hope up, right?
yes, I was just like completely like, I had one goal, tunnel vision, and it was just like my mom is gonna get better. She is gonna get better. I don't care what you're saying. I don't care about the spread to the brain or to the lymph nodes. I know she's gonna get better. So when she allowed herself to rest, that was just like, oh, okay. Whew, that was hard. That was really hard, because she would not let me believe that she was gonna be gone.
Yeah. In those 6 months, you said, if I heard correctly, your mom changed.
She lost a lot of weight.
Yeah.
She became weaker. She stopped like working out, training like a lot. She
Yeah.
only went for walks if she could. But also, I was not at home at that time. I was purposefully kept out of the loop when I was studying. My mom lived in my hometown. I lived in a different town in a city when I was a student, and I was about to finish my master's, and I was just finishing up my master's thesis, and my mom told everyone not to tell me how bad it actually was. She really wanted me to get my degree,
Right.
and she had her son, my brother, there with her at all times. Her partner was there, and she was just like, you can all help me, but please don't tell Laura, because she is just gonna be like, because she knew how much I would be like instinctively intuitively led to stop my studies, to come home, to be like, Mom, just tell me if this is that bad and I'll come. And she never told me to come home. And I didn't see her that much in her last months. And that's something that I went through. And it was painful. And then I got into therapy and I processed that. And I'm not really like regretting that time that much anymore. But she did it because she loved me so much. She was like, I
Yeah.
really want her to not see me like this and to be happy, because our bond was so strong that she didn't need me there. And that was also like
Wow.
painful because I was not there and I felt a lot of regret and a lot of shame and guilt. But later on I processed that, and I learned that it was my mom's way of loving me as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. Even talking about it, I still feel the pit in my stomach because I know how it sounds, right? I know how it can sound like nobody has told me that to my face, but sometimes I had these thoughts in my head like, why weren't you there? Like, how could you not have seen your mom for so long before she passed? And I was like, she didn't tell me. She just didn't tell me. She was like, everything is fine. I'm taking another treatment. I'm going to see the doctors. And to make it really dramatic, because that's how it happened, she died on a Tuesday, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday prior to that, I was in Sicily with my friend because she told me that I can go. Like, she told me to go on a trip. And I was like, Mom, are you serious? She was like, go, I'm going to be fine. I came back 2 days later, she was gone. And she still did it when she was feeling like this, because she knew that I could not see her like this and like stop my life completely. She didn't want me to stop my life for her.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing, right? That she wanted you to just continue living your life.
Yeah. And it's tough when you think about it that you lived your life, but you didn't see your mom, but that's what she wanted. So how can I argue with her? Oh,
But yet, take your time, by the way, right? If, I
yeah.
mean, this, yeah, this is not an easy topic.
No, but it's also like a reminder of a time that I haven't thought about for so long. Yeah.
But yet you felt guilt?
No, I
No?
don't. I've already healed in therapy from that. For the
Okay.
first year in therapy, I was dealing with that, with this guilt and shame and regret. But through therapy, I learned that my whole life, actually, my mom was modeling the type of behavior to always take care of your needs first. Like, she was a teacher. She would come home after school, and me and my younger brother were there, and we were like, Mom, take a look at this, let's do that. And she would be like, I just came home after 8 hours of teaching. I don't have any energy. Please go to your rooms for 1 hour. Give me this hour and later we'll talk. And she always modeled this type of behavior of taking care of your needs, protecting your peace, protecting your energy. And even if that cost you like saying no to your kids who wanted to do something, no, no, no. First, I need to
Mm-hmm.
reorganize myself. And that's what she wanted for me. She really wanted me to continue my education first and foremost. And
Yeah.
she was also like supporting me because in that time I was applying for a PhD position at a university in London in linguistics, and that was also at stake, kind of. So she was supporting me, and she was like, "Please, you go get it. Don't worry about me. I have support. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great."
Your mom sounds like an incredible person.
Thank you. She was. That's why I love talking about her, because she was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me right if you need a moment, because
It's
I don't want to
okay.
like just fire questions away while.
It's okay. It's
Yeah.
very nice. Thank you.
When did you know that she passed away, actually? Like, from who did you hear this?
Mm, right. So it happened like this. So I came back from this trip on Sunday evening.
From Sicily.
Yes, from Sicily. I came back to Wrocław, Poland. Monday morning, I started classes. It was March. It was spring break. I was having fun. I mean, it was like a normal trip, but I was just like using my time off right before the end of my master's and my PhD application. So I started my Monday morning class, and I think at 11 a.m., I got a call from my mom's partner, and he called me and he said to come home right away because mom was taken to the hospice. I mean, she may have already been at the hospice, but nobody had told me. Otherwise, I wouldn't have gone to Sicily.
Yeah.
So before I left class, I told my professors why I was leaving. They knew about my situation.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, go home. And I went home. I packed my things, packed my cat, packed my boyfriend. We went home, and thankfully, the commute from Wrocław to my hometown, it was like an hour on the train, so it was just an hour. So I came back, left my bags at my apartment, and went straight to the hospice. Spent the evening at the hospice. My mom, by the time I arrived, she had not been able to move her eyes, lift her eyes. That's how bad it was. And when I saw her, I did not recognize her at first because her face had changed. It looked different, which was a shock to me. Suddenly she looked 20 years older, like our aunt who was like 70 or 80 and she was just 47. Like she looked so different. And I was like, whoa, this is not what I was expecting. And I spent the evening there holding her hand all the time. She was still alive, she's still breathing, but like it was becoming the rattle breathing, I think, the very difficult one. Plus she had problems with her lungs, and it was very difficult for her to keep breathing. And she, when I arrived, she looked up at me with her half eye open, and then she closed her eyes and she didn't open them at all. And I think I left the hospice, I don't know, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., your regular leaving time for the visitors. I went to my boyfriend's apartment because I could not stand the idea of going back home from where my mom was taken and all of the medical things that were there. When I was leaving my bags, I saw that, oh my god, it looks like it looks different, like that you were taking care of her here. That was also a shock to my system because she didn't need that type of care even when we celebrated Christmas 3 months prior. So it was difficult. So I spent the night with my boyfriend and his family. They were also supportive, really supportive. And at 7 a.m., I got the call from my mom's partner that my mom passed away and that she kind of like took the oxygen out of her nose. Like she was the person who, like, she disconnected herself kind of from the breathing machine. So that was her decision, I guess. And that was at 7:30, I think, and that's how I got to know. So that was the first thing that happened that morning. I don't even remember if I ate, and I went to the hospice. And the first moment that I realized that she was truly gone was when I saw her body, because it was so different, but also it was cold and
At the
stiff.
hospital?
Yeah, at the hospice. It was still at the hospice. So not the hospital, but like the place where people go to spend their last days when they are actually sick and there is nothing that can be done. So that's where she was.
Right.
So they had this room for people who pass, and I could see her body just laying there, and that was the moment I was like, okay, I think this is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if this, because I think it's quite different in a way. Like, well, I guess it's very different in a sense. Like, because I lost my dad when I was 4 years old, so I feel at a much older age that I sort of realized, like, oh yeah, he's really not in my life. Um, has there been another moment where you really realized that your mom was truly gone?
I think yeah, what you're saying is definitely like there is a difference, like how old we are
Hmm.
when we lose our parent or how it happened, whether it was an accident. May I ask how you lost your dad?
Yeah. I mean, my mom told me the story not too long ago again. I'm not gonna share it all per se, but it was in an accident, a traffic accident. So you had a motorbike, and it was apparently so stupid that there was a hole in the road that he didn't see, and I don't know, his wheel catched the hole, and he, yeah, died from that.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah,
Yeah,
you lost your dad very, very early.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. For me, I was lucky to have spent 23, almost 24 years of my life with my mom, and I realized that.
sure. And it's not like there's a competition in this, right? I'm extremely grateful that you had such X amount of years with your mom, but likely you wanted to have even more with them, right? With her.
Yeah.
I mean, who
Yeah.
doesn't?
Who doesn't? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, there is no competition, but also like hearing other people's stories who lost their parents, um, let's say like earlier than I did, when I was listening to the stories of people around me at that time when I lost my mom, that made me realize like, oh, I mean, there is no competition. I'm just like so sorry and I'm so grateful because this is just you don't have words for like
No.
things like that.
So wait, you have met other people who lost their parents? Like you actively went out to look for such a group, or?
Not at the time,
Uh-huh.
but because I was always open, even when because my mom passed before I really started my social media presence, like before my YouTube channel, before my Instagram grew. But I was still like open, and I posted about how I was feeling, and my closest group of friends could see that, and I took it like I decided that I really wanted to talk about what it's like. I really wanted to share, I was gonna graduate, right? I was gonna celebrate my 24th birthday, and my mom was gonna celebrate her 48th, and we always shared that, yeah, 24, 48,
Hmm.
like we had these things in common. So I was talking about like I'm still grieving, like this is the worst. Like I don't know what to do sometimes without her, and people started reaching out to me when they saw my Instagram stories, for instance. So a
Yeah.
girl that I was studying with, or another boy that I was studying with, or like past friends, they were like, Laura, I lost someone at this and this age, and this happened. I am so sorry. And even my professor, when I came back to class, the professor whose class I left that Monday morning, I came back, and the first thing that she did was she hugged me, and she was like, I lost my dad a few months ago. And she was 50 something. And she said, I lost my dad a few months ago. It doesn't matter how old you are. If you're a child, you're a child. And I just bawled my eyes out, like just crying, hugging her, because I was not expecting that.
Yeah.
This openness, this kindness, this support, and everyone at my institute knew about my situation, and I was being held by my teachers, and it was great, and I love them for that. So people started like reaching out to me when they saw that I was openly sharing my pain, and how I was processing it, and they offered support.
That's so beautiful, actually.
Hmm.
Sounds like
Yeah,
you have a lot of incredible people around you as well.
that is true, and I think I took after my mom with that because she always could gather people around anyone, herself too, and she was just great at communicating, and she was a great teacher. And I think when you are a great teacher, you have this natural ability that maybe people like are drawn to you. I don't know, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And what do you feel was actually when you were going through that process of grief? And I don't actually know today if there's actually an end really to that process.
I don't
Uh,
think there is.
yeah, I mean, now it's 28 years later, right, that I've lost my dad, and I feel when I still talk about him with my sister, uh, yeah, it still cuts very deep. So I don't feel like there's an end to it. All of a sudden, like I don't think about him, or there's no pain anymore.
No.
Uh, yeah. So, but I wanted to ask, like, what do you feel was helpful, and what do you feel was not helpful in terms of people trying to support you?
Yeah, I have like big things to talk about.
Okay.
Um, I'll start with what wasn't helpful because there is like only like maybe a few things, but thanks to the fact that I started therapy like maybe not even a month after my mom passed, I was really well equipped
Okay.
with dealing with my emotions. I was equipped to handle them, process them, and make sense and survive mostly because I felt like my whole world was just turned upside down. Um, and I've had mostly like support around me, but what didn't help was, and of course, not a, there's no simple solution to that, but I was grieving for a long time. I like my initial like grieving period, the most intense one, didn't last a year. It lasted for like 2, maybe 3 years.
Why do you say that's a long time, by the way?
Um, I'm just saying that because I realized also when I made my YouTube video, and in the comments I read that there was this expectation that, your bereavement should last a year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so stupid, to be
I
honest.
know,
There's
I
no time
know.
on it.
No, there isn't. But I know that maybe sometimes we think like, okay, the first year
It
can be the worst. And it is for many reasons, but it doesn't end there. So that's why I'm saying that it was like this, like first year, let's say that was like intense. The most intense time lasted for even 3 years. And in that time, I broke up with my boyfriend of 8 years. I moved countries. I lived alone for the first time. And doing that without my mom
Wow.
as my guiding light, it was, and
Mm.
also as an orphan because my mom had divorced my father and I'm not in contact with him, so I'm just like with no parents now. I have my grandparents, my mom's parents. They are the best. And what didn't help during that intense time was when I needed, for instance, to take a day off when I felt like I could not perform at my job, like when I could not show up to teach because it was too difficult. Like after 2 years, after 3 years, because there have been moments like this, especially when other things in my life happen, like I mentioned, like a breakup or a very difficult move or like an onset of depression, combined with being and feeling so lonely, so alone without my mom there to help me with anything, even being there with no words at all. When I would cancel or try to cancel my classes and say that I need a sick leave, there sometimes were these responses saying like, "But Laura, it's been 2 years. It's been 3 years. Shouldn't you have moved on by now? Like, shouldn't it have gotten like become better?" And I knew what to do in those situations because I always consulted with my therapist. Like, am I allowed? Like, am I still allowed to take a
That's
day off?
that's so crazy, actually, for me to hear
Mm-hmm.
that we kind of have to justify
Mm-hmm.
taking time to grieve such an important person like your mom in this case.
Yeah, that's why that wasn't helpful,
Yeah.
definitely. And that's the only thing that I think I can say because
Yeah.
other things, anything that I have received, and I received so much support, so much love, so much care from my mom's community, the teaching community, the running community, My friends, my grandparents, their community, like everyone knew what was going on. Like to give you some perspective as well, like
Mm-hmm.
because that fight took so long, my mom was fighting for 7 years. By some time, like at some point, there was an article on our town website about her and a fundraiser. And the fundraiser was shared with some, you know, famous people. Like that was the level. Like I I never intended to be a daughter of someone who needs a fundraiser to fight cancer, but somehow that happened. So when the outpouring of love came in, it just didn't stop. The people around me have been nothing but supportive. Therapy has been Without therapy I would not survive that. That's for sure. I would be down
Yeah.
for a very, very long time. And not to say that, I mean, I think everyone could benefit from even one therapy session during grieving, even to try it out. I know that it's not going to be for everybody, but just to know, to have some perspective. I've gone through 6 years of therapy. My brother hasn't, and I can see some differences in our behavior, but also like he still lives in the same house that he was taking care of our mom in, so that's like also different. But I don't know who I would be without therapy. And the thing that helped the most, I mean, two things. My mom was, I mentioned, like she has a few communities. She had a few hobbies that she gathered people around. So one of them was not knitting, like, making
Yeah.
sweaters, but it's not knitting. It's more like crocheting, like very different techniques. And she always had balls of yarn everywhere in the house, or like glitter or beads or things to just create something new with. And it was like everywhere in our home, like in our 3-bedroom apartment. When she left, when she was gone, suddenly it was there, and I needed to decide what to do with it, because it wasn't just about throwing it away. No, 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 no. These things meant a lot to my mom, and she had like hundreds of people around the country that she knew
Hmm.
that were also into that type of hobby. So one thing that really helped was me going through and making a catalog of every single type of yarn that she had. I knew all of the brands by heart since I was a little kid, so I felt like I was just, always being an apprentice in my mom's shop. And I knew what to do with it, so I just created a catalog and I created a Facebook group, and I invited all of my mom's friends there, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna sell all of it. I want it to go to you people because I really want you to have a piece of my mom's passion for that. So I created that group. I sold most of it. I sent the packages, the boxes of yarn to all the people who bought it. But at some final moments, there were like not enough things that people wanted to buy in bulk. So I created like a 1 day indoor sale in my student apartment, and a few people came, like my mom's friends. They came and I saw them in person, and that was a healing moment when I really felt like I
Hmm.
honored her memory, and I did what I think she wanted me to do with her things. They didn't go to strangers. They didn't go to any random people on the internet. I kept these things with the people who she loved, and that was healing for me.
Yeah. I
Um,
could also say probably for the people that she knew,
oh,
like
for
friends.
sure. Yeah, yeah. That was a lot of organizing and processing and an Excel spreadsheet, but I needed to do this as a labor of love, to give people a piece of what I don't know what my mom would have made of it, so maybe you can make something out of it.
Yeah.
And the second thing that was the most healing, and I actually have it right here with me, I can show it to you.
Sure, sure, yeah.
So I mentioned that my mom was a teacher, and she had she always had like an agenda, like a diary, like a teacher's diary. And she had one for every academic year. And this is the one that she kept before she passed. So she has, I mean, I added those stickers, but she had I bead you, which is like for people who love like
Uh-huh.
crocheting and stuff. So,
So wait,
yeah.
it's a book with like a diary, right? You said,
Yes, it's
or
a diary. It's a teacher's diary. My mom had not been teaching at that point already because
yeah.
she was on a yearly sick leave, but she kept her I mean, no, she was teaching. I can track that. Like, I think she was teaching up until maybe November, December, and she was just like keeping notes, like the score of our volleyball team, or like how she felt that day with her chemo, or
So is this a
yeah,
bit like being able to still spend some time with your mom, but through
yeah.
a
I
different, yeah.
I kept that for her, so there are no notes after March. I mean, she put some like birthdays in June or July, so she would remember, but there were no notes after March. And I think yeah, she stopped at some point. And then on March 19th, so the day she passed, I started writing in it. And all of the pages, like until the end, are my writing. They are about what I was feeling, how I missed her,
That's
and
so beautiful, actually, I think.
yeah, I needed that for my for to keep sane, because to keep my sanity, because I just didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
I needed to talk to her for so many days after she passed. I mean, that was like an ongoing thing for me. Like, I needed to talk to her and I couldn't. And sometimes I was reading our Facebook messages, our messenger messages. I was reading her Facebook posts, like I tried to be with her in some way, and writing in her diary was the most helpful because that was hers.
Mhm.
And I felt like that they were not so private, like her keeping like her like secrets there, but they were her personal diaries. If she really wanted to put something there, she knew that nobody would read it, like that was her private space. And I didn't feel like I was invading this personal space, because she has always kept those diaries since I was a little girl. I could always grab one and she would be like, "What did I put on February 2nd?" And I would be like, "Oh, you have this and this." Like, I felt like they connected us, and I also became a writer thanks to seeing my mom write all the time.
Mhm.
So when I ran out of pages in this original one, I bought myself a new one.
Mhm.
I still haven't finished it, and I've kept it since 2020, but since then I have kind of like, I haven't really felt that urge to be writing all the time, because I was also like having conversations with her in my head. But if I were to say like what helped me most, was not only writing but also like imagining what she would write back and
Mhm.
trying to have this conversation.
Yeah. I like again, I've not talked in my life with so many people who have lost someone because especially at a younger age, because again, most people didn't lose their parent at a young age like you or like me. But I have, in a way, I'm quite impressed on how you dealt with all this. Like, it sounds all very like healthy things that you did, like seeking therapy, taking that step, because I think that you took it.
Yes,
Yeah, that's very, yeah, you're very well able to take care of yourself. It seems like, I guess, like your mom, right?
that's how she raised me. Counseling as well before she passed, and also like many times. But we talked about mental health, we talked about energies, we talked about so many things. She introduced me to personal development. She
Hmm.
took me to my English classes. Like, I am who I am because my mom raised me in that way. And I am like I said, I'm like privileged to be talking about her still, because whenever people meet me and I hear nice things about me, and then they ask me like, how did you become this or that, and the answer is like, my mom.
Well,
Yeah,
hmm,
that's why losing her was just like,
yeah, yeah,
I'm glad that I kept so many. I mean, I have all of her diaries. I have all of her wisdom. Not all. She had so much more, but I have as much as I can have. I can always put myself in either like her mindset, how she would see things, or what she would tell me. So seeing it from my perspective, but like imagining
yeah.
talking to her. And she is like my higher self. She's my guru, and she always responds in a way that guides me to something. And I'm glad that I still have it and that she gave me so much.
I guess you're, well, more than for sure making her very proud.
Thank you. I like to think so.
I'm pretty sure.
Mhm.
How does it actually feel for you today to talk about her?
It's a wave of love that I just feel, and it comes with tears, it comes with sadness, it comes with emotion. But I think as I get older, and I'm turning 30 in 2 days, and when my mom was 30, she already had me and my brother, and she was going through so many different things in the early 2000s.
Yeah,
And when I just think about like who she was my age, like at any age, I'm just like blown away by her strength, her optimism, her just building this life for her family, for her kids, for herself, sacrificing a lot. And I will do my best in my life to be a walking testimony to who she was, because she raised me and my brother to be incredible people, and I feel that love when I talk about her, and that's always so special, especially when I talk to people who have parents. I mean, talking to you, I can feel so seen and so understood. Sometimes when people still have their parents, bless their souls, they can only empathize, right? It's still a lot. They can do that. But then when I talk to them and then they can go to their parents and talk about whatever, I'm like, oh,
hmm,
this is a lot.
yeah. That, yeah, I know.
Mm-hmm.
That thought hurts for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have an incredible mom, but through my life, yeah, I've missed my dad a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So whenever I have friends and they got their parents, I'm also like,
Mm-hmm.
they're not gonna be here forever. So
And it's easy to forget that.
it's also normal to forget that in a
It
way, right?
is.
But in that sense, you or me or anyone who lost someone can be some kind of a reminder,
Yeah.
and that can be for them hopefully a good thing to know. Like, okay, don't take this for granted because you never know what tomorrow will bring.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like this was in a way a bit of a strange question to ask,
Mm-hmm.
especially if someone is listening right now who just lost someone. Then it's also uh, maybe a bit irrelevant at the moment, but maybe you could already plant some seed for in the future. But I am curious to ask it because for me it has been true. So I could assume it could be true for you as well. But has there been anything that brought some kind of an unexpected, like, beauty or connection uh, through your grieving, through losing your mom?
Yes. And these moments are always powerful, these moments of this connection. So it definitely deepened my connection to myself, first and foremost. I couldn't go to my mom. to talk at all. That was not an option anymore. I could write to her, but she would not hug me. She would not, pat my head. So I definitely deepened my relationship to myself, and I became that mentor to myself. But that's something that is like something else. With other people, so 1 year after my mom passed, I made a video that you found me through.
Yep.
I called it 1 year without my mom dealing with the death of a parent. And I needed to make that video because I'm sure that's true to anyone who's watching or listening, that at some point we just want to hear other people's stories. Like, we want to hear from people who went through something similar. Like, how did they go through it? This is what we're doing now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How did they survive? How did they heal? How are they living their lives now? What has changed? What can I expect from my journey? What's ahead of me? I'm scared. This is so unfair. So I've been, since I lost my mom, I was looking for YouTube videos and articles and reading and watching and listening, trying to find some, because even though I was still surrounded by people who were supportive, I felt so alone because they didn't lose their moms. I did. And I was alone in this, and my brother was alone in his experience. And sometimes we just couldn't spend time together because we had our own things going on, and I couldn't be there with someone who actually knew what it was like. So I was watching YouTube videos, and at some point I realized, because every single person and every single death and experience and grief is different, but we have common points, common things.
Yep.
So I didn't see anyone who shared their story online that their story represented mine, and I didn't see myself. But they gave me so much. So I was like, Laura, you have a YouTube channel. You might as well make a video of your own. And I did, and it felt like I needed to do that. And I posted it. And to this day, it's been 5 years since I posted it. To this day, I get new comments from people who thank me for making this video. People who found this video, and you name it, like the situations that they've been through, who they lost, how they lost them, why they were there in the video, like in the comments section. There are so many stories there. I made that video not even thinking about people's comments. I mean, maybe naively, but I was just making it for myself. And then when I uploaded it and people started, first of all, sharing their stories and also saying like, Laura, thank you for the video, that created a new type of purpose, because I also saw how little conversation there is online about grief.
Yeah, online and in person.
Exactly. So that's why I made this video, and through it came many, many conversations, many connections, many people being like, even like my friends, distant friends, messaging me and being like, Laura, I know we haven't talked in like a few years, but I watched your video and wow. And then like the message continues. And I also had people who found me through different types of videos on my channel. I talk about language learning, traveling, veganism, minimalism. And then people were like, I've been your subscriber for X amount of time, and then I found this video, and I have never felt more seen because I never shared this with anybody. So like online, creating this beautiful community was one of the most beautiful things that I could have done with my online presence, to create this space for people who were grieving, who couldn't find a space to grieve maybe. Also, private messages. People have messaged me a lot, and every single time these stories just, break my heart open, and I'm like, I extend my love to you because I know what it feels like. And so many moments happened in real life too. people just like being like, I'm sorry you lost your mom, I lost, and then they share their loss, and we could just talk and validate each other. But also, like, my connection with my mom has not disappeared. I still see her, I still feel her, even in small, small things. So, like, recently I started a radio show here in Warsaw,
All right.
and my radio show is called English Sanctuary. I talk about English, learning English through songs. We talk about language things and then songs, and we analyze the lyrics.
Hmm.
And my second ever show, and I was just like so stressed, my second ever show was March 18th, so the night before my mom's sixth anniversary, like the sixth anniversary of her passing. And I asked my radio boss, I was like, hey, can I be really like authentic? Can I play one of my mom's favorite song and dedicate it to her, and also play Marjorie by Taylor Swift about losing her grandmother and being like, I'm like still thinking of you, mom. Can I do that? He was like, no problem. Like, this is your show. We love that. And I did it. And I kid you not, when you do the show and you see the songs that are loaded into the system, and then you can see, like, you finish, let's say I finish at 10, like at 11 p.m. and it's 10:50, and you can see like the next hour songs rolling in. The first song that came up randomly after my show, which was dedicated to my mom, I don't even remember the name of the band, but the name of the song was You Did Good, Kid. And I was like, I think that's my mom.
That's a beautiful message to you.
I've had so many, and that was just like, thank you, mom.
Yeah, yeah. So even now, she's still there for you.
She is here with me like all the time, and I know that, and I feel it.
Hmm. The YouTube video that that you made, I will also, for everyone listening, put it in the show notes to find it. Because I like, again, I didn't watch it all the way, right? But since you
Right.
said that there were so many people reacting, then I can only imagine how much needed it was for many people to find such a video. And again, like you said, online, I guess, yeah, people don't talk too much about it. I guess more than in person, but it's crazy to me how little we talk about this topic. It's a hard and difficult topic, I guess, but at the same time, everyone will come to lose someone.
Yeah.
But society really doesn't do a great job at making this subject talked about,
No.
or there isn't much room for that.
No, there's not. I think during COVID, maybe we were like all moved so much that talking about like people being gone was just like on everyone's mouths. And I think maybe then we were like more aware and more mindful.
Mhm.
But then like COVID came, it went,
Yeah,
everything is like, let's say, back to normal. So it's like regular day, no more time to talk about like holding space for the grieving people because this is too much.
yeah.
Yeah, but there are people who talk about it, and I always appreciate it, and that's why I want to spread awareness about grief and about loss.
And I will say also, because you kind of, like, I through my own experiences in life, like losing my dad, like having gone through other things, uh pain is not pleasant for no one to experience, right? We rather don't want to feel that. But at the other side, through pain, there's some beautiful connection sometimes to be found. And
Yeah.
I do feel like you have found that.
Yes, I sometimes I struggled with this idea of like having a new identity of being, a parentless person or like a grieving person, and I was like, I don't want that to define me. I want to be seen for like everything that I am, but also this is a part of me. Like I personally struggled with like how people will see me through my pain, but it's been a process that I've been embracing in therapy. At the beginning, I was really not liking it. I was really like, when you see your mom fight cancer, and it's a part of your reality for 7 years since you're yeah, how old was I? 17, 16
Hmm.
when that started, so I was not even 18. My teenage years, my adolescence, my young early adulthood, everything was just stained with disease and pain and hope and risk and loss and anticipation and treatment and checkups and test results and going to different
Tiring
cities.
process.
Yeah, and when my mom was gone and I started grieving her not being there, that came also with this, with the like very sudden end of this adrenaline driven like hopefulness, like you're gonna make it, you're gonna push through. And then it was like a total crash, and I was like, how much pain do I want to be like seen carrying? But then I resolved that. But it was difficult at the beginning because I was like, this is too much.
This experience with your mom, how has your view on life changed, if it has changed in dramatic ways or even small ways, right?
So at first, my first reaction was nothing matters. You can be whoever, like you can be the best person in the world, the worst person in the world, someone in between, a regular guy, a regular girl, and just like that, nothing matters. Like
Hmm.
you're not here anymore, and nothing is your concern. It's everyone else's concern, but not yours. And I felt betrayed by the fact that my mom was taken so early.
Mm.
I felt like she was so great, like she was amazing. Like why her? Like also going through these stages of grief. Like why her? Why not someone else? Why in this way? So at first I felt betrayed, but then, and it has taken me a while because since my mom passed, I went through a severe depression like 2 years ago. So
Hmm.
that outlook changed a lot in the last 6 years. But before she passed, I was always really optimistic about life. She gave me so much strength. She showed me what to do and how to behave, how to think in situations when your life can end at any moment. And she also shared with me that whenever we talked about her maybe being gone, I was always like, no, stop, please. And she was like, no, but I really want you to do two things. I want you to be happy, and I want you to make your dreams come true. That's all there is to life, really. And I always kept that in my head. And after I came out of my depression, I started really like I got this like double down energy on this mindset. Like, okay,
Right.
this is what really matters. Like, my mom wanted me to be happy. I am gonna make myself happy, and I am going to make those dreams come true because I don't know how much time I've got left. Why would I want to spend my time wondering about what if, or just like, days off are great and relaxing is great, but I have dreams. I want to make them come true. I want to see them in my life, and I want to live that reality. So what else can I do? Like, this is the only thing I can do. So I really
Hmm.
just put 1,000% into just creating a life for myself. And I kind of like did a 360 with this outlook. So when my mom passed, I was like, I don't care about anything. Like this, all of this bullshit. Like, I don't want to be
Mm.
even breathing right now. But then I processed that and I came out on the other side of where I used to be, but like with new energy of like, oh, I'm
And
gonna believe
with
it even
more
harder now.
wisdom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
I like if I think about the biggest lesson that my dad taught me, it's exactly that life can end
Yeah.
at any moment to the people that you love. And that has, I mean, in a way helped me. a lot to also really try to live with a life with as little regrets as I possibly can.
Hmm.
Compared to a lot of younger people, actually, I felt way more motivated to go and take action because I was very aware of that reality. Like
Hmm.
it seems has been the case for you as well.
Yes, and you started the Inner Path Seekers, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was one of the, I guess, reasons for that. Yeah. Yeah. So
Mm.
there can be some beauty. Again, if you just lost someone, then this is something that you don't want to even hear, and that's, I mean, also
Yeah.
normal. I just kind of wanted to highlight that side as well, because this is also true.
Hmm.
That once you have gone through the pain, the intense amount of pain, that at some point there can be something beautiful to be found in something as painful as losing someone you care greatly about.
Yes, there are still moments where you, I don't know, like you go through their things, or you suddenly see a photo with them, like from years back when, and you can really every single encounter, like even yesterday, I had this situation when I wanted to put the video recordings of my radio show, put them on my hard drive to transfer them from my SD card to the hard drive. So my hard drive ran out of storage, and I had taken my mom's hard drive after Easter. Like I went home for Easter, so like a month ago.
Hmm.
So I've had it for a month. I haven't used it. And I was like, okay, maybe my mom's hard drive. Like, okay, let's see. I plugged it in, and first of all, a flooding of her documents and her folders. And I was like, whew. Even now saying this, I felt it like again, like a pit in my stomach.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, first of all, can I transfer the footage? But also, I started going through my mom's folders, and I saw photos from a trip that I didn't go on with her, but she went with my brother and her partner. They went skiing in Italy.
Mm.
And I had never seen those photos because that was not my trip and nobody shared them with me. So I was like, I never saw them.
Mm.
And I saw my younger brother, even younger than he is now. It was like 2012. And I saw my mom skiing and having fun and laughing. And I was like, hi, mom, haven't seen you in a while. And that can happen at any point. You just go through anything that they left you and that you kept. And you're like, whew, a new wave, a new memory, something new to discover. How am I reacting to it now? What does it bring me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's in a way very beautiful that he kind of hurts you. I know it sounds a bit strange to say that, but that it means that you greatly loved her,
Mm-hmm.
right? Otherwise, you wouldn't feel this kind of pain. So the fact that you were able to have this kind of love for someone like your mom, yeah, that's quite beautiful in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, or I don't want to put
I
words in your mouth, right?
no. I just started thinking about like a friend of mine who also left his. I mean, he lost his dad, and I remember the amount of pain that he was in, and that was before I lost my mom, and also the conversations that we had, and I was like, yeah, this pain is kind of beautiful. I mean, it's not the pain we wanted,
No.
it's not the pain we signed up for,
Yeah.
but it it is what life has dealt us, and apparently we are able to go through our lives carrying the weight of the love, also the weight of the grief, and that will not change.
No. No. Hmm. It's kind of that's beautifully said, actually. What is one thing that you wish more people would understand about loss and the grieving process?
Hmm. There are a few things. The first thing that if you lost someone that I want people to know is that you may have heard this, but grief is not linear. It doesn't unfold in a regular manner. You don't experience it in regular intervals. You can't plan for it. So that's one thing. Grieving and healing is not linear. Also, it doesn't have an endpoint, like we already talked about. It may be that it's been a few years, 10 years, I don't know how many years, and something hits you, something comes up. Suddenly you meet someone and they share something that opens something up in you. And that's also part of grief, because grief is not it's not a task. It's
Yeah.
not a thing to check off your to-do list. Yes, I have grieved everything and everyone, and no more grief for me. No, you can't. You can't quit that service. No, I mean, I'm not joking. It's serious. Like, you cannot opt out of that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be there. Also, something that was like personal to me. I don't know about anyone else, but probably a lot of people may resonate with that on some level. During my intense grieving period, I felt a lot of anger. I felt a lot of the feelings of my situation being unfair. Sometimes me being angry with my mom for not having told me something earlier, that I wish we could have spent more time together, because then I would have acted differently or something. Like, there was a lot of anger, a lot of just not accepting. Something that I struggled with, I remember it so vividly. I was cleaning I was cleaning my mom's closet. I was taking her clothes out, and I had this feeling as if my mom was there with me and she was saying, "Don't touch it." I was like, oof, I feel hot. I feel like I'm doing something wrong. Like, I should not be doing that. And I talked about it in therapy, and we discussed it with my therapist, and she helped me see that it was just a lot of anger. That was my anger, like me imagining my mom not wanting me to touch her stuff was my resistance to, I don't want to touch this stuff. Like, I do not accept that it's happening. Like, I should not be doing that.
Right.
Who in their right mind wants to graduate in a month and do that right now? This sounded crazy, and that was so difficult. But the lesson from that is all of the emotions that arise, every single emotion is valid.
Agree. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
And you can be happy one day and you can be like, why
Yeah.
am I happy? It's been a month. Like, why am I laughing today? Like, I should not be laughing. I should not be happy. Like, that's also like, your responses to your emotions are also valid, but like, even them themselves being there, you are allowed to have a good day while grieving. You are allowed to be angry for weeks, and you're allowed to cry when you feel like you want to cry, and if you want to be alone, you deserve to be alone. If you want to be with people, like, your needs and your emotions are valid. And also recognizing people who are there to help and people who are there to perform a function is also good. Like, if there are people who maybe like tell you what you should do or how you should grieve, it's good to maybe, like, of course, like, listen to their advice, but you are the person who decides what to do. It's good to be
Yeah.
supported by people, but if someone is interfering with that, just know that you deserve to grieve in your own way, even if it doesn't make sense to some people, because there might be some people who are like I mentioned before, like, you should be over this by now, or like, you know what helped me, you should do that too. Try what you want, do what you want, but remember, this is your process, and it's about you honoring and grieving the person that you lost, and it's between you and them and you and yourself. You don't owe anything to anybody.
Yeah. That's some very good insights.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I learned, and I'm glad that I had therapy. Like, I will keep saying
Yeah.
that therapy was amazing.
You still go and see that therapist sometimes, or?
Yes, now every 2 weeks. There have been many other things happening since
Sure,
then.
right. Life doesn't stop with throwing things at
No,
you, right?
no,
So,
and
uh-huh.
she's still my therapist, yes.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, seeking therapy is, I think you also said it's not per se gonna be for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I think it's can be a really vital tool and support to do at least try out. Like I guess you also said actually, but maybe to kind of emphasize on that again because you don't have to go through this alone, right? Like
Yeah.
listening to a video or like a podcast like this is great and that can be a wonderful first step. But again, also knowing that there are therapists even specialized in these topics.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think trying at least therapy out is a can be a great thing. Yeah.
Yes. Or if you don't have access to therapy, but in your close environments, you have these types of people, because we all know these types of people who are so wise. They hold so much wisdom. They can
True.
listen to you, hold space for you, and just
Mm,
be the support that you need. Sometimes those people are even as good as therapists. Maybe, I can't compare it like fully to professional help, but there is a lot that you can that you can learn from, and a lot of emotions can be eased if you have someone trusted to talk to. I also like mentioned, but maybe I haven't emphasized that enough, but I have received tremendous support from people from literally everywhere, and I still continue to receive support. And those conversations with everyone in that time, I still hold so close to my heart. And anytime anyone has been like openly supportive of being like, "Hey Laura, I'm here if you want to talk," those people are precious. And if you have people like that around you, remember you're not a burden. If you're hearing that from them, it's they want to be there. Like maybe they won't have all the answers, but they probably want to be there for
yeah.
you. And it's a good thing to spend some time alone if you want to, but do not isolate in your grief. Like, it's good to be surrounded with people. It's good to receive help. It's good to ask for help, and it's good to be held by other people.
Yeah. Yeah. Very much agree. Yeah. To someone who is listening who might have just lost someone, is there a last something that you would like to share to that person?
So I can and I cannot imagine what you're going through. This is going to be a very challenging and difficult time moving forward. Just remember that it is not going to last forever. This heavy pain, these emotions that you may not even understand or like or want to experience, and they are too much, it won't be that intense forever, and you can go through it. And if you can hold the love of the person that you lost close to your heart in any way you can, trust me, you're going to get through it, and it is going to be easier at some point, even if you can't believe it right now.
Yeah.
And I see you and I hear you.
Thank you so much for taking the time to share what happened to you, to share some about your mom, Sylvia, right? Was her name?
Sylvia, yes, thank you.
Yes. So thank you for also talking about her here today. And yeah, I uh, I feel like I've learned a bit more too. So thank you again.
Thank you so much, Yelis. If you ever want to talk here or in private, I am always open. And thank you so much for having me. I feel like I just shared my story, but also my mom's story. And
Hmm.
if our stories help anyone, even one person
Yeah.
listening, I feel like did what I intended to do, and I'm really thankful.
Yeah, yeah. To potentially ease the pain a little bit of one person, yeah,
Yes, it is worth it.
it is. Yeah.